Hello and welcome, my friends. Welcome to Tarot 101. Oh, it's been a hot minute since I've gotten into these 101s, and I won't lie, I'm really enjoying the opportunity to share some information and answer some questions. So, tarot. This is not going to be a one and done series or session because it's a huge umbrella. We're going to start off with the beginning, the decks. Now, this is not every deck. There's hundreds of thousands of them. Honestly, I swear that I have a good chunk of them because I do carry a lot of decks in my repertoire. However, it's not all of them. Now, we know the Rider-Waite. This we've seen. If you've seen me on Twitch, if you've been on my channel before, I read from the Rider-Waite, which is great. It was created in like 1909, 1910. It's been around for, well, a hot minute. Now, there are two other types. Well, there's more than that, but these are the kind of common ones that you can see or hear. There are going to be more, and there's going to be hybrids of these decks. These are kind of the original categories, if you will. This one with the funny cross on it. Now, the backs will change depending on when they were published. I do not know much about this deck. This is called the Thoth or Thoth, Thoth, created by Aleister Crowley. This deck was brought out in 1967 originally. However, it had some printing errors, so then it was re-released in 1969. Initially, Crowley thought this would be a 6-month project. However, it took 5 years. He didn't understand the scope of what he was undertaking. Even though I don't connect with this deck, it is one of the groundbreaking decks that have come out in our generations. Aleister Crowley, Arthur Waite, Pamela Coleman Smith, who drew the Rider-Waite, and then the artist, and I always forget her name. It's not on the deck. I'll put it in screen somewhere. She was Lady something. They were all part of the same secret society, the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn. There was a big feud between Aleister Crowley and Arthur Waite, which is kind of weird and cool. This deck is very similar to the Rider-Waite in that it has the 5 categories, like the 5 suits, the major arcana, the pentacles or coins, wands, swords, and cups. However, the imagery, as you can see, is very different. I'm not going to go card by card because this video will be a bajillion years long, because there's 78 cards this deck actually has more than 78 cards because there's a number of the magicians. I'm not entirely these are just choices, I think. I'm not sure. A friend of mine who reads Thoth told me because I was a tarot reader, I had to have this deck. I use it for teaching purposes. Literally, it's like, this is Thoth. Isn't it interesting? It has a very different energy than the Rider-Waite. It's not a good energy, it's a different energy. And the third deck, now this is just one of the types. Again, I was handed this as, you read tarot, you need to have this. It's called Lenormand. It was created by Mary Ann Lenormand. Now, this predates both the Rider-Waite and Thoth, because Mary Ann lived between 1772 and 1843. She created this. Again, very similar. It has the different suits. There's 5 suits. but it is different in the fact that what would be known as the major arcana is called something different, and there's a lot more of them. I know even less about this because I've never read Lenormand. Can you read all three? Absolutely. Are there people like me who prefer one kind? Sure. Is there a right kind? No. It's the kind that works for you. Whatever you're drawn to. Even if it's not what I read, that's okay. There is also part of what's called cardmancy, reading just playing cards. Again, that's fine. It's a tool. Whatever works for you. That's the important piece. So, again, Lenormand is there's some beautiful cards. I just don't read it. As a reader, I don't like these added pieces where they're telling me what it means, because not all the time when I'm reading, I'm an intuitive reader, do I want that? And that's part of why I don't read. They have words behind some of the titles in these cards. Inference. I don't want that. So I've never been drawn to these two types of decks. And that's just me as a person. However, I know some fantastic readers who will solely read Lenormand or Thoth or a combination or all three. You do what works for you. So starting off, each deck has 5 suits. When you're learning tarot, whatever it may be, so if it's Lenormand or Thoth or Rider-Waite, get one of the original types. You can find a lot of the original Rider-Waite because they're no longer in copyright, which means people have the ability to use these decks, use these imageries, because they've been around for over 100 years. There are a lot of pieces that didn't hold up to society. All the people in this deck are white. It's a very white European based deck. However, the updated cards, the wonderful creations that are in our marketplace now, they're using the symbolism and picking out pieces that they like. You may miss pieces. There's history and lore to all the cards, and you can miss little pieces that you may need. And what really comes to mind, actually, as I'm looking at these cards, a lot of the newer cards, when they're doing this, the swords, they will draw this beautiful Queen of Swords, but they miss what's on her wrists. She has tassels. Why? Because she's learned all her firsthand experience through hard knocks. She's also known as the matron or the widow. This is the information that you need that going forward and diving into the tarot. So yes, it may be white. Okay. However, it's the symbolism, and Pamela Coleman Smith added a lot of different symbolism. You just may not see it right away. You have to look for it because she hid it in plain sight. And that's the beauty of this. Things are hidden in plain sight. Once you have the foundation of tarot, then branch off. Get the pretty decks. Get the ones that are meaningful for you. But with that foundation of what they meant, whether it be the Lenormand, the Thoth, the Rider-Waite, you've got that. That's the important thing. And the cards, this is actually a fairly new deck. I've gone through a number of these decks because I teach from them, right? There's 22 major arcana, starting at the Fool and going all the way to the World. There is a lot of nudity in tarot. I'm kind of whizzing past it because YouTube does not enjoy nudity, even though it's in the cards. So it's important to be mindful of that when you're reading. If you're on YouTube and Twitch, I do cover the bits because YouTube, Twitch, they don't like it. Now, you have 4 minor arcana. And this is across the board, doesn't matter which ones you're doing. They can change. So the swords can be east, it can be the wind, it can be knowledge, it can be daggers, any sharp, pointy instrument, really. It's, again, that's the creator piece. Each suit has many different connections. So you will go 1 or ace all the way to 10. Okay? Simple. Then you have the court cards. These themselves can be many different things. The page can be the princess, the daughter. Knight can be, and this is Rider-Waite specific. I do know Thoth does change this up, but there are 4 pieces, 4 people, if you will. The knight obviously can be the knight, can be the, I've seen it as teenager, I've seen it as son. The queen, I've seen it as the mother. I've seen it as there was another one. I can't remember it, but you'll get the idea. It's very much that matron, and I think that might have been it, matron of the deck. This is your mom energy. And then of course the king, which I've seen as the father, the patriarch. Yes. These are a little bit more challenging than what you would see in what's called the pip, the ace to 10. The ace to 10, it tells a story. Pamela Coleman Smith drew pictures to this. This was her baby, the minor arcana. There's stories behind it. These can be part of that connection. It could be that overarch feeling of the father. It could indicate an individual. It could be part of you. Please don't get overwhelmed with the court cards. They are a little bit more complicated. I will, at a later date, be going through each card to look at the symbolism and how you can read it as an individual card. Now, until I get to each card, I want to say, with the court cards, just know that they have a lot of different meanings and that they do and can symbolize different people in your world. But know that there are 4 suits that are in the minor arcana. These are the everyday aspects, how we deal and work with the major archetypes of the major arcana, which are the bigger energies. Some people say big picture. However, it's very, very challenging for us to get big picture because we're so in the thick of it. Can we get guidance? Absolutely. But these are the bigger energies. Again, lots of connection in with those. And I will go through those and we will do what's called the Fool's Journey. And that's to come. The important piece is to look at the imagery. Look at the system. Tarot is a system. It builds off of each card. We have the numbers within each suit, even the major arcana. Numbers or numerology plays a part in tarot. One of the only reasons we know, many of us know, Roman numerals is because the major arcana had Roman numeral. So there's numbers, there's colors, there's symbols within them. There's symbols on top of symbols. That's how you read the tarot. Now, when you get your deck, you'll get a little book. Like for the Thoth, you get this little book that has point, like 2 font to read it. Okay, fantastic. And this always makes people cringe. Throw it away. So the original deck that was printed back in 1909, especially on the Rider Waite piece, there was a lot of inconsistencies. Arthur Waite wrote the book. However, he didn't always have Pamela Coleman Smith's picture to look at. So he was going off of what maybe Pixie had told him in the past about what she was going to do. So there was a lot of inconsistencies. A lot of things were missed. So go through and learn the symbols and how they feel. That's going to be the important piece. Are you going to have all the answers? Is it going to be clear? No. You need to start to work with the tarot cards. Get used to them. And that leads me into a segue on what we're going to do next time with Tarot 101 is start to dive in and getting started with tarot. I want to thank everyone who got to the end of the video. I know I just threw a lot of information at you. Now, I am going to be supporting my Patreon community with a little bit of cheat sheets, notes from all my sessions. So if you're wanting some of these quick tips, easy access supports, plus lots of tools, readings, and extras, I do have a Patreon community. I'll put a link below so you can check it out. I want to thank you guys so very much for joining me and exploring tarot. These decks are fantastic, and it doesn't matter which system you use, what you connect with, we're all very different. And that's why we have different kinds of decks. Go with what connects with you. And yes, a lot of these starter decks, they are very white European centered. You don't have to always read off these base starter decks. Once you get that foundation, you can read all these amazing decks that we're finding and that are being created. However, you have to start with the foundation and that symbolism. Now, let me know what other tarot questions you guys have. I've got a lot more teaching coming forward, not only in tarot, however, in astrology, crystals. It's going to be amazing. So please let me know what questions you have below. If it's tarot, astrology, I'll see if I can answer it. And like always, my friends, you know what to do. Hit the buttons. Let me know what you thought. It's important not only for you to gain this information, but the more people who like and share, comment, it gets into them algorithms of YouTube and more people will find me. And that's the important thing, sharing knowledge. Nothing should be held behind paywalls. Knowledge is important. Again, I want to thank you for diving into one of my favorite topics. Until tomorrow, my friends.